10 o'clock. So I would like to welcome everyone to today's webinar. We are talking about how to unlock the power of social media. And we're going to talk about hashtags and content calendars. So after today's webinar, you will know how to use hashtag and how they can boost your reach to up to 80%. And you will also be able to use our 3-step content and scheduling plan. So thank you so much for joining us today. You are meeting me, Katrine Fredriksson, and Dixie, and we are both with Easy Marketing. Here is the contact information for us. And if you never met us before, we are Easy Marketing. We've been in business for 23 years, and we do online marketing, website, social media, printed material, and we work a lot with constant contact and email marketing. We believe that email marketing is one of the strongest ways to reach people anywhere and everywhere at any time. We also have a YouTube channel. You're going to get a link to that, so you can go in and watch the webinar after after today if you want to. So a little bit about hashtags. Did you know that hashtags are they're like the old times card catalogs, but in the digital age? It's a way to group and identify content of a special topic. So using them efficiently will be able to boost your social media reach and engagement if you do it correctly. But it isn't as easy as just putting a pound symbol in front of a word. So did you know that there are different types of hashtags for different purposes? And as I said before, you can expand your reach to up to 80% with hashtags. And Dixie is going to talk about this in details, but just a little bit basic about hashtags, because I know it's a big question mark for many. Hashtags are like keywords or search words, but it had that pound sign in front of them. And you can follow a hashtag on your social media, just like you're following people and organizations and companies by clicking on following or liking them. So, and you know that if you have liked someone or follow someone, when you open up your social media, you're going to see them in the feed coming up. And in the very same way, you can follow a hashtag, a term that you are interested in with the pound sign system, and it doesn't matter who is writing it. So you don't follow a special person. You are following everyone that is using that hashtag in your feed. So be ready, grab a pen, and let's get started.
Thank you so much, Katrine. So let's take it from the top, because I know we all have different levels of experience and comfort with hashtags. So a hashtag is a word or phrase preceded by the pound symbol. It was first used way back in 2007 on Twitter as a way to group related tweets together. And since then, the use of hashtags, their reach, their effectiveness has grown exponentially. It serves as an indicator both for users and the algorithms that this piece of content relates to a specific topic or event or theme or conversation. And the true magic of hashtags is that they help to make your content discoverable, which is going to help you reach more people. So, and they're not just for Twitter anymore. Hashtags are effective across a wide variety of social media platforms. In fact, many of you found our webinars as a result of our posting our events on social media and making smart use of hashtags. So welcome. So let's start with some hashtag basics. Hashtags always start with the pound symbol. You can use any combination of letters, words, or numbers. There's no length, requirements, but they do not work with spaces, punctuation, or symbols. Hashtags are not case sensitive. So let me show you an example from a client we've worked with, the Health Up Institute. The first hashtag we used here in this post was hashtag breast cancer awareness. And since that's a multi-word phrase, I chose to capitalize the first letter of each word. But we could have just as well done it in all lowercase. They are the same hashtag, they group exactly the same content. I would say lowercase is the more traditional way to go, but I like the use of capital letters in cases like this where it improves readability. But just know that either is fine. They will do the same thing. You just want to be consistent. So next, as Katrine mentioned, users can follow not just individuals or brands or companies, but can actually follow hashtags. And when you do that, any kind of post from anywhere in the world, doesn't matter who made it, if they use that hashtag, it's going to help it show up in your feed. So on the screen, I've kind of showed you the steps of how to follow a hashtag. You're going to use the little search icon. You're going to type it in there. Make sure you are in the tags section, and then you're just going to click follow. So this example is from Instagram, but it works much the same on any platform. So you can follow other hashtags, and that is a great way to get your content in front of new eyeballs, right? Because if you're using those hashtags and they follow it, or even if they're not following it, they just search it one time, they have the opportunity to discover your content, even if they're not one of the regular followers of your channel. So if you're new to hashtags, you might be thinking, well, I've got along fine without them until now. Why should I bother? But there are a million reasons brands are using hashtags. So let's take a look at a few. First, hashtags can help you increase engagement with followers. So when you include a hashtag in a post, you're really taking part in the conversation that's happening on the social media platform and making your post and your organization visible in that conversation. That boosts your brand's social media engagement through likes, comments, and shares. And secondly, and the one that you're likely most interested in, is that hashtags can help you gain new followers. On LinkedIn and Instagram, for example, like I was just saying, people can follow not only people and businesses, but the specific hashtags. So if you're using a few well-researched, well-placed hashtags, that's a great way to help new users discover you. Let's look at an example. This is one of our clients, Waves for Power. It's an international green energy company. You might not be following them on Instagram. We won't hold it against you. But let's say you were the type of person who is interested in renewable energy. You might follow the hashtag green energy or the hashtag clean energy. In either case, you would have seen this post perhaps in your feed and maybe start following them. So in this way, using hashtags is a great way to organically expand your reach without having to constantly invest advertising dollars. They can also help you build brand awareness. We're going to talk a little bit about branding hashtags, so you can use consistently for your organization. And finally, hashtags can make your organization more relevant by showing support for social issues. So these could be national issues or things that are important to your local community. You can use hashtags to show support for those and be kind of part of the cause. So let's talk about different types of hashtags. Hopefully so far you're seeing kind of the benefits of using them, or at least maybe you're interested in how they can help you gain followers. But there are kind of different types of hashtags, each with its own purpose. A branded hashtag is one that's typically associated with a specific brand, business, or organization. So this is a word or phrase that you have selected that you feel best represents your organization, and then you're going to use it consistently across your social media channels. So the cereal giant Cheerios uses the branded hashtag Good Goes Round in most of their content. Our client, a local soccer club, uses the hashtag Your Soccer Family. And these are two great examples of customer branded hashtags. But it is very important, so listen to this point, to know that no one owns any hashtags. You cannot purchase them like a website domain. You can't even register them like a trademark. They are free for anyone to create and use. And the purpose of them is to create group related content. So just know that even if you're consistently using a branded hashtag, it doesn't mean that you own it. Somebody else could be using that same one. And that's fine. Just know that, in the feed, they're going to see your content, but also other hopefully related content. In addition, you may want to make some hashtags for shorter term uses. So these are often specific to, say, like an event or a campaign that you're doing. And these are great for user generated content. So let's say you're hosting annual fundraising events like a golf tournament or a gala or a corporate retreat, something like that. It's a great idea to ask your attendees to post pictures of the event, right? Because then it's getting the word out to all of their followers and friends. But the problem is, if you have 300 people there, unless you're personally following each of those 300 people, you're not going to see their post unless you ask them to use a branded hashtag. So all these things can be grouped together. For everyday use, we're going to use something called related hashtags. So these are words or phrases that are not specific to your organization, like the braided variety, but are related to your business in some way. So possibly related to your industry, maybe your city or location, your products or services, any words or phrases that might help someone connect with you. I'm going to give you some really good examples in a minute. But I want you to know first how to kind of research hashtags. So let's see here. All right, so one thing you can do is check out competitors or influencers in your section. See what they're doing, you know what I mean? Especially the big brands. What kind of hashtags are they using? How many? Remember, they don't own them. So if you have a shared audience with someone, you can use some of those same hashtags to reach those same people. Also, you can explore hashtag recommendations. So a lot of social media platforms are getting really good at helping people with hashtags. So if you start to type in one, they'll often show you more that are related. So these are a great way. There's also some sites that you can check out, like Hashtagify Me, that are helpful to showing you different kind of hashtags, especially like what's trending right now. There's some, like, we're always going to use hashtags that are related to marketing and social media because that's our business. But sometimes we want to jump on board of hashtags that are really happening right now and be part of the conversation. So those can be helpful for that. Right Tag is another website that I could recommend for learning about new hashtags when you're first researching them. All right. So next, I'm going to give you just a couple examples of how best to use them on different platforms. So Instagram is where hashtags really shine. You can use up to 30 hashtags on every post. So I definitely recommend you use at least 10 to 15. What you do not want to do, though, is copy and paste the exact same group of hashtags every time. That's considered spam and will get your post downgraded. So you're going to rotate them a bit, picking just the hashtags that are the most relevant to that specific content. On Instagram specifically, I recommend that you use your hashtags either after the caption or you can put them in the first comment, either or, not both. I would not sprinkle them in throughout the caption. If you're looking to research hashtags on Instagram, you can use the search bar. They're also clickable. So if you see a hashtag, you can click right on it and you're going to go to the feed for that specific hashtag. So you're going to see every piece of content that every user on Instagram has posted using that hashtag. And that's where you can do like a little research, but also where you can follow hashtags. And also make sure that the branded hashtag that you've decided on is in your bio. So those are great ways to research and use hashtags across Instagram. And I pull that one out because it's different. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter all have a much different hashtag strategy. So you're not going to use 30 like you would on Instagram. I would say max 3. Okay. And especially on LinkedIn, that's a place where you're going to be showing like your expertise, presenting yourself as a subject matter expert. So make sure we're not using anything spammy. You really want it to be very related to the content. Now, where I told you on Instagram to use the hashtags at the end of the caption or in the first comment, on Facebook, you can sprinkle them throughout the text as we've shown here, or at the end. Either is fine. Again, you can use the search bar for look for hashtags. They will give you suggestions and you can click on the feed. And if you're just curious, you can go to facebook.com/, whatever, hashtag marketing, hashtag weddings, hashtag anything, and you're going to see the feed for that hashtag. It's also really helpful for private groups. So if your business is using Facebook groups, you can use hashtags to keep similar content together. So let's say you have like a boutique business, you might have a hashtag for jewelry and then a hashtag for outfit of the week or that kind of thing. And that really helps keep those different types of things within the group together. So before we move on from hashtags, we always like to give you a little to-do list to help you follow through on what we've covered today. So first, we want you to research related hashtags for your industry, your location, your products and services. We mentioned some great resources here, but watch your inbox today. We're going to be sending you a recording of this webinar. We know we're kind of coming at you fast. And also the slide deck. So you can look through these again if you missed, some of those resources I gave you. So we want you to carefully select and start using a branded hashtag, one that well represents your organization and that you're going to use consistently across your social media channels. And then you're going to begin using hashtags on every social media post. You're going to add them to your content calendar, which we're going to talk about in just a second, make an Excel spreadsheet, whatever you need to do to make sure that you're consistently using and tracking the results. Because if you're not tracking them, you don't know which hashtags are performing the best. So keep track. And of course, if you need some expert advice or help, we'll be glad to help you get started. So just contact us for a consultation. So next, Katrine is going to talk to us about planning for success. Take it away, Katrine.
Yes, so it's a lot in 30 minutes. So if you participated in some of our past webinars when we talked about how the importance of social media and also how to do it, you probably feel totally overwhelmed. But the good thing here is that there is a plan on how to do this. And we call this our 3-step plan on creating a content calendar. And the most successful social media accounts, they use what's called an editorial calendar to identify the monthly content for each theme. And then they often use some kind of software to help with it. And there are several free ones, including the Meta Business Suite, for example. If you have Constant Contact, there is a free one, and there are a couple of others you can use out there as well. So our three-step plan is, before you start, we encourage you to identify your high-level focused area, just like a journalist or what marketer called an editorial calendar. And we suggest you do it for a full year. You're going to see Dixie shows that. And it's just your broad vision to get the big ideas and make sure that the most important things shows on the you have it included in the year. And after that, you will go in and do your editorial calendar to make more detailed content for each month. And then finally, you're making sure to get it done. And since you do everything here in batches, you're going to save a lot of time, and you know what you're going to do all the time. So Dixie, take it away and go into the details on this.
Thank you. And as Katrine said, both of these topics, hashtags and content calendars, are sort of in the advanced group. So if you are newer to using social media for business purposes, go to our YouTube channel, go back and look. We've had a whole series of previous topics on social media, so you can kind of catch up on some of the basics. For example, how to start a social media channel, which channels are right for your business. There's a lot of great content in there. So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, take a step back and you can view those for free anytime. So the three-step plan, first comes the editorial calendar. So that's something we like to do on an annual basis. And the point here is to align our marketing goals with our business goals. So think of it like a year at a glance. It's basically a high-level overview of the things you want to focus on this year on your social media, and a general time frame for each. And I know we're like in late March, but it's not too late to make one for 2024. So how you're going to break this down depends on your industry, but we're going to give you a few examples to get the wheels turning. For many organizations, it's common to have a different theme for the month. So if you're a healthcare institution, like the example here, you might dedicate posts in February to heart health, and then post in October to breast cancer awareness. If you're, say, like a tax professional, maybe you devote April to income tax filings and December to last minute deductions. You get the idea. Another way to organize it might be around specific dates or events. So let's say that you are a nonprofit and you have a big golf tournament in March and some kind of fundraising gala in September. You might structure your editorial calendar around those major events. So you know what you're going to post, 12 weeks prior, 8 weeks prior, 6 weeks prior, sponsors, registrations, those kinds of things. And then in between these major events is where you feature something that we call evergreen stories. And by evergreen, we mean they're good for any time. They're always there. They're not date sensitive. So this kind of content could be around your mission, the people you serve, your dedicated volunteers. If you have a brick and mortar, maybe like unboxing videos, maybe you're showing people in your organization, that kind of stuff. Even if your business isn't seasonal, it's still really helpful to focus on one group of products or services each month on social media. So let's say you're a brick and mortar and you're like your local bike shop. Maybe you decide to focus on beach cruisers and bike car carriers in May when people are starting to plan summer vacations. And then like November, December, maybe you focus more on children's bikes as like holiday gifts. However you decide to organize it, having this high-level editorial calendar that outlines your area of focus for the year and hopefully specific themes for each month is going to be a great first step to really planning successful social media strategy. Next is going to be your content calendar. And that is exactly what it sounds like. It is a calendar of each individual social media post. We like to plan these out a month at a time. And so we can concentrate that month on the specific focus area that we identified previously in that yearly editorial calendar. This is going to help you stay on message with the topics that you already decided were most important for your business. And also it's going to help you with ideas of what to post. Sometimes that's the struggle, right? What are we going to talk about this month? We've already decided what the content is going to be. Now it's just a matter of exactly what is it going to look like. So when you go to put together your content calendar for the month, so let's say you're going to be planning April, at a minimum, you want to include the topic of each post, the day and time, the social media channels, if you're using more than one, and ideally, you'd also like to include what we call the post assets. So those are like the text, the caption, photos, graphics, and any links that you plan to share. And a content calendar is a very simple tool. You can make it as simpler or complex as you need to, but it really allows you to be intentional in your social media presence and to plan your content in advance. So let's look at an example. Okay, so there are so many ways that you could set up a content calendar. No right way, no wrong way. You could use an Excel spreadsheet. You could use a paid service like Hootsuite or Buffer. But for many small businesses and nonprofits, a Google Calendar is a great option. Since we have limited time, that's the example I'm going to show you today, but just know this is just an example. If you are in the situation where you have, let's say, more than 4 or 5 social media channels and you need something more robust, please contact us after the workshop. We will show you the tools that we use for ourselves and for our clients, and we'll point you in the right direction. But for today, a Google Calendar will serve most of our purposes. First of all, we love it because it's free. And then you can easily toggle between the daily, weekly, or the monthly views, which is what you see here, depending on whether you want to see the big picture or the details. If you need to reschedule something, you just drag and drop it to a different day. And you can also duplicate items. So that's nice. You know, if you do kind of the same event or the same sale year after year, you can kind of duplicate posts to, next year, and you're ready to go. To show you how to put together this, I've kind of created a step-by-step example from a client we worked with, a youth sports organization. So when we're planning them for the month, we like to start with the holidays. So both like your federal holidays and also kind of like hashtag holidays, like National Taco Day. So you see that kind of stuff here in brown. Um, Next, you want to add in important dates to your business or organization. So again, for this, you're looking back at the editorial calendar. It's going to tell us, for in this case, we wanted our focus for this month to be on the fall soccer season. So I added in some key dates for that. You see those in black, like uniform ordering deadline, first day of practice, that kind of stuff, when the games begin. And I want these exact dates on my calendar so I can plan my post around them. This means I'm not scrambling at the last minute to get that information out. I know a month in advance, when the fall seasons begin, so I can plan all of my social media to support that. So after I have my key dates in there, the real meat of the calendar comes in when we start adding our specific social media posts. So you can use different colors based on, the topic or the channel. And then after you get all of those in, then in purple, what you're going to see here is that evergreen content I was talking about. Stuff that's not really specific to this month or this theme, but it's kind of filler that I can use anytime. Not filler in the sense of it's useless, but that it's not time sensitive. So you can put those in around your other posts. And then you can click on each individual entry to see the meat of it. So like the caption, the photos, graphics, and if you put them together here all in one place, again, it's going to be super handy for the following year when you're planning out posts. You're going to have all of that together in one place, and you can kind of repackage some of that content.
Yeah, can I just
So
say something about that slide? Can you go back one slide? So what you see in here, we set up an event, a day and a time, and gave it a name. FB means it's going to be on Facebook. Created an artwork, and you can attach then plus the text you're planning on doing. You're putting that in the note for that date, just like you were going to go to the dentist, or you have tickets to a concert and you add your ticket number in the thing. Here we put the content actually of the post that's going to go out that day.
perfect. And again, this is not scheduling it, this is just planning it.
Yes.
So the last step is going to be when you actually schedule the post. So once you have everything on your calendar, there are a number of different resources that you can use. So if you're using Constant Contact for your email marketing, which we highly recommend, you're not going to need a separate resource because they have integrated newsletter, email, and social media all in one place. So you can post directly to all your social medias from Constant Contact. Another option is the Meta Business Suite. This is free for Facebook and Instagram users. So if your business is only using Facebook and or Instagram, then you can use the Meta Business Suite to post your content. And if neither one of those applies to you, then you probably are going to be looking at some kind of paid tool like Social Pilot, Hootsuite, or Buffer. We use Social Pilot for ourselves and for our clients. I can highly recommend it, but the others are good too. So you might look into one of those. Keep in mind, they all work the same in that you can delete or reschedule posts if something changes or something more urgent comes up. So you have flexibility. So for Constant Contact, like I was saying, you can go in there and you can schedule your posts in advance. The nice thing is you can use some of the similar content that you've already used, for example, on your newsletter. So it's great to have that all in one place. You can pick what channels they're going to be on. You can schedule it for a later date. And this is definitely what you should be doing. You don't want to be waiting till 2 a.m. the day of to schedule your social media. If you do it all at once for the month, you sit down and spend an hour and get it done, you're going to save yourself so much time, so much stress, and you're going to make sure that happens.
So much stress.
And the Beta Business Suite works kind of the same. You can post simultaneously across both Facebook and Instagram. So that's a great use of the Meta Business Suite, but you can customize each. So remember I said probably maximum 3 hashtags on Facebook and up to 30 on Instagram. Just because you're posting the same video, for example, doesn't mean the caption has to be exactly the same. They'll let you tweak them, and you can still post them simultaneously. And if you're a night owl like me, I can work on it at 11 o'clock at night, but I can schedule it to be posted for, 9:30 or 10 a.m. the next day when actual people, normal people, are using their social media and scrolling. So here's an example of the monthly view in the Meta Business Suite. You can schedule your Facebook post, your Instagram post, also stories. You have the option to see suggestions called moments, which are typically like federal holidays, hashtag holidays, that kind of thing. Basically, you can see the whole month at a glance and see on which days you have something scheduled, as well as the time and channel. And this is going to help you post consistently, which is really important to helping the algorithms show your content to more people.
But just
And then,
remember, this is only for Instagram and Facebook. And so we had someone on here that has a photography business, and you are most likely also on Pinterest because that's a good place to be. So you might, this might not work for you. You might use it for the other one, and then you have to do it by yourself. I saw we have a metal resurfacing industry. You really probably need to be on
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn if it is business to business. So this might not help you that much, but for most people, the Meta Suite is a great start.
Yeah, so if you're gonna have multiple platforms like that, then you can do something like Hootsuite, Buffer, or Social Pilot, which is my personal favorite, because that will, you have to pay a few dollars, obviously, to use their service, but it's gonna help you post across multiple platforms. It's gonna save you time. It's gonna get it done. It will definitely be worth it. So we covered a lot of ground. Again, before we go, a little homework assignments, and hopefully you recognize these as our 3-step plan. First, we want you to identify your high-level focus areas and create yourself an annual editorial calendar that aligns with your business goals. Then, using that as a guide, you're going to create monthly content calendars one at a time to plan out your specific post. Okay, that's going to make sure that it gets done, that you're posting with the frequency that you want, 2, 3, 4 times a week, and that you're staying on message. And finally, you're going to make sure it gets done and save yourself so much time in the process because you're batching it by scheduling the majority of your posts in advance through either Constant Contact, the Beta Business Suite, or a paid scheduling tool like Buffer, Hootsuite, or Social Pilot, for example. And again, if you need any expert advice or just help getting started, we'll give you our contact information in just a moment, and we'll be glad to set up a free consultation. So
Yeah.
we're running a couple minutes over time, but do we have any more additional questions?
I haven't seen any, so let's run the last few, see if someone writes them down while we run the last few slides here.
So our workshop next month is going to be about using AI to increase your marketing productivity. So for example, to help you come up with a content calendar, to help you write social media posts, to help you research hashtags, all great uses and examples of using AI. So please come back for that. It's free. We'd love to have you. And we talked a little bit about Constant Contact, or if you're interested in a free trial, you can use it both for email marketing and social media and a lot of other things, frankly. Here's just for being with us today, you can use this for a free trial of Constant Contact. And here is our contact information. I know this was crazy fast. So if you have questions later, if you need advice, if you're struggling, please contact us. We respond to every single email. We would love to talk to you and just point you in the right direction.